Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling something that I think a lot of us have wondered about, but might not have really thought too deeply on.
Yeah.
How smart are animals, really?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there's always that sort of cliche
Yeah.
of like bigger brain, smarter animal.
Right,
But that's really not
right.
the whole
Sure.
story at all. So we're going to get into some really fascinating research and examples from, all over the animal kingdom about animal intelligence. Really kind of flip that idea on its head.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The source material that we looked at for this one really has a lot of stuff that kind of like makes you rethink, like what's
Yeah.
going on in the minds of all these creatures that we share the planet with. We're talking like fish changing genders, slime mold,
Yeah.
outsmarting humans in mazes, and
Oh, yeah.
apes inventing new words. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
So, I guess to start, let's talk about that idea that you brought up, the whole brain size thing.
Right. So there is this idea
Right?
that
That is how.
if you could measure an animal's brain, that you could figure out how smart it is.
Right.
And that was actually enshrined in something called the encephalization quotient.
Encephalization quotient. What a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. It's basically you're taking brain size
Okay.
and then comparing that to body size.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to give you a number that tells you, oh, this animal is really smart.
Right.
This animal is not so smart.
I see.
It turns out there are so many flaws with that.
Okay.
I mean, you can...
Well, for one thing, every person I know who's gained,
Yeah,
like the freshman 15 would
exactly.
suddenly become dumber by that
Right.
metric.
Yeah. It doesn't really...
It doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Yeah, so our source material actually talks about some of the ways that this was even used to try to like categorize intelligence among
Really?
people.
Like different people.
Different people,
Okay.
different
Oh,
groups
different.
of people.
Yeah, just.
And it's based on really flawed logic.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the idea that, for example, Asian people have smaller body sizes on average, and therefore might be smarter than people who have
Oh my God.
larger body sizes.
Like on average. Wow.
It's just nonsense.
Okay, so that is not a good way to measure intelligence, obviously.
Yeah, so we have to throw that one out.
Okay.
So what do we...
So then how do we measure intelligence?
Yeah.
In animals?
Yeah, that's the question, right.
Yeah.
So there are a number of different approaches. One classic one
Okay.
is what's called the mirror test.
You mirror test. Okay, I've heard of this, I think.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, it's like you put an animal in front of a mirror and see if they recognize themselves, right?
Exactly. And the way they test that is by putting a mark on the animal somewhere where the animal can't see it directly.
I see.
So like on its forehead or, behind its ear or something.
Got it.
And then they observe the animal's behavior when it sees itself in the mirror.
So if they, like, reach up and try to touch the mark or something.
Exactly. If they investigate the mark, that's a good sign that they recognize that that's them in the mirror and that something's different about their appearance.
Okay, that makes sense. What kinds of animals pass this test?
So you might think that our, like, furry companions, like dogs and cats,
Right.
would pass this test, but they actually don't.
Oh, really?
They might notice that something is different, like something is weird with the mirror, but they don't seem to connect it to themselves.
Okay, so they're just like, that's weird, but they don't know it's them.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, our source material, there's this funny anecdote about a cat recognizing its owner in the mirror,
Oh, no.
but completely ignoring itself.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's my human, and then there's this other weird cat with a mark on its head, whatever.
That's amazing. So who does pass the test?
So some of the animals that consistently pass the mirror test are all of the great apes except gorillas.
Oh.
For some reason, they haven't figured that out yet.
Interesting.
Dolphins, killer whales, elephants.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty surprising.
And then the real shocker
Okay.
is magpies.
Really?
Yeah.
Magpies. Those
Magpies, those little black and white birds that you see.
like those
Yeah.
pesky birds that
Yeah.
are always like around.
Exactly.
Uh,
So it turns out that magpies are the only non-mammal that we know of that can pass the mirror test.
Wow, that's crazy. So the mirror test, I guess, is one way
Yeah.
to try and figure out how smart animals are, but
Right.
it's not the whole
Right. It's not a perfect test. It's definitely not the whole story.
story, right?
Yeah.
So what else do we look at?
Well, our source material also talks about maze solving, which is another really interesting
Oh, yeah.
way to look at animal intelligence.
How so?
Well, mazes are a great way to assess problem-solving skills,
Okay.
memory, and learning.
I see. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it turns out that all vertebrates can solve mazes, but some are much faster than others.
So, like, humans aren't necessarily the best at it?
Humans are not necessarily the best at it at all. In fact,
Really?
our source material talks about how even slime mold, which doesn't even have a brain,
Oh, okay.
can solve a maze faster than a human.
Wait, slime mold? Like the stuff that grows, like, in your bathroom?
Yeah, exactly. That stuff.
Wow.
And it does this by spreading its body out
Okay.
and somehow sensing the shortest path to the food.
So they put food at the end of the maze, and it just, like, slimes its way over.
It basically slimes its way over. Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's incredible. It's like this.
Okay, so that's just, like, wild to
Yeah.
think about. Okay, so,
So it's really looking at intelligence in a different way.
right. It's not just about, like,
Yeah.
what we traditionally...
Yeah, like book smarts.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's about problem solving. It's about...
It's about adaptability.
Right, yeah.
That's about, being able to navigate your environment and find solutions to challenges.
And clearly, slime mold is doing that very well, even without a brain.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've talked about the mirror test. We've talked about mazes. What other ways do we look at intelligence in the animal kingdom?
Well, another really fascinating area is communication.
Okay.
And this is something that our source material gets into
Really?
in quite a bit of detail.
Yeah, it's like, obviously animals communicate.
Yeah, they're not just sitting there silently.
Right, but how compel XX
Yeah.
are those communications?
And it turns out that it's a whole spectrum from very basic signals, like a dog barking to alert you to danger, to much more complex systems that really blur the line between communication and what we might think of as language.
Okay, so what are some of the, like, more impressive examples?
So one of the most mind-blowing examples is Alex, the African gray parrot.
Alex. I feel like I remember him. Didn't he, like, talk?
He did?
Like, he could actually talk.
He could actually talk. He had a vocabulary of over 100 English words.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
That he could use in different contexts. He understood abstract concepts like the concept of zero, and he even invented new words.
Okay, hold on.
Based on his own observations.
Wait, he invented words?
There's this great story in the source material about Alex encountering an apple for the first time. And because it tasted kind of like a banana and looked kind of like a cherry.
Oh, my goodness.
He called it a bannery.
A bannery.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So he was like putting together words to describe. Yeah. And so it really shows that he wasn't just mimicking sounds.
Right. He was like thinking about it.
He was thinking, he was analyzing, he was expressing himself in creative ways.
Okay. That's pretty wild. What other examples do we have?
So speaking of challenging our assumptions about animal intelligence, there are crows.
Crows.
Yeah, those pesky birds that we see.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always getting into trouble.
Yeah. But it turns out that they're much more than just, thieves of shiny things.
Okay.
They are actually masterminds of problem solving and tool use.
Okay, so like what kind of stuff do they do?
So our source material talks about how they use tools, they plan for the future, they understand cause and effect.
Okay.
They'll even drop nuts on roads and wait for cars to run them over to crack them open.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It's like they're like outsourcing.
Yeah, it's like they've figured out technology and how to use it to their advantage.
That's amazing.
And then in Japan, there are reports of crows opening water taps
to
get a drink.
That's amazing.
So it reminds me of...
like problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That octopus that learned to open jars to get to the food.
Right. It's like they're just figuring it out. Okay, that's incredible.
It's incredible.
So we can't talk about animal intelligence without talking about dolphins.
Right. Yeah, the poster children.
Yeah, they're like...
of animal intelligence.
the classic example. So what's so special about dolphin intelligence?
Well, they are incredibly social and communicative. They pass the mirror test we talked about.
Yeah.
They have complex social structures, and even they have individual names.
Wait.
Yeah.
Dolphins have names?
Dolphins have names.
Okay, you're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, so researchers have actually recorded dolphin vocalizations.
Okay.
And observed that each individual has a unique whistle.
Oh, wow.
That acts as its name.
So they, like, call each other by name.
They call each other by name.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Bob, over here.
It's like a dolphin high school.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But sadly, all this intelligence doesn't make captivity any easier for them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Our source material mentions that I
So
think
that
like
makes sense.
captive dolphins suffer immensely
Yeah.
because they are aware of their confinement.
Like they know that
Yeah.
they're trapped.
Yeah, they know that they're not.
And they're smart enough to, like,
In the ocean.
understand that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's a reminder that
Also makes me think that, like, maybe they are really
yeah,
smart if they can understand
that
that
kind
kind
of
of.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a reminder that our understanding of animal intelligence should inform our ethical responsibilities towards them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So we've talked about a bunch of different
Yeah.
animals, but we got to talk about the
Right.
apes. Right.
Of course. Our closest living relatives.
Yeah. So specifically, I know we're going to get into gorillas and chimps,
Yeah.
and some of the amazing
Some amazing stories, though.
yeah, that they've done. So we're going to jump into that in the next part of our deep dive. But for now, thanks for joining us so far. We're going to get into some really incredible stuff in the next section.
It's going to be good.
So stick around.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were just about to get into ape intelligence.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for some more ape action.
Okay, well, get ready to be amazed. Our source material tells the incredible story of Coco, the gorilla, who learned to use sign language.
Coco, I think I remember her. She was like fluent, right?
She was. Coco mastered over 1,000 signs in American Sign Language. And on top of that, she could understand about 2,000 spoken English words.
So she was having conversations, not just like responding to commands.
Absolutely. She could communicate her thoughts, her feelings. She could understand pretty complex concepts. And she even, told jokes.
That's incredible.
And it wasn't just about the language either. Coco showed an amazing depth of emotion and understanding that was really remarkable. There's this really heartwarming story in the source material about Coco deciding to adopt a kitten, and she
Oh,
named it All Ball. And she was incredibly gentle and nurturing with this little kitten, really showed that she understood companionship.
that's so sweet.
But then, tragically, All Ball died, and Coco showed signs of grieving, just like a human would.
Oh, no.
She signed words like sad and bad, and it seemed like she really understood, at least on some level, the concept of death.
Wow. That's both heartbreaking and amazing at the same time. Like, really makes you realize how much gorillas are like
It
us.
really does. And speaking of remarkable apes, the source also talks about bonobos.
The nobos. I've heard they're like even more peaceful than chimps.
Right, often called the, quote, make love not war apes.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
And potentially even closer to humans in terms of intelligence than chimps are.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, bonobos have this amazing ability to understand human language. And they can even use abstract symbols to communicate their own thoughts.
So they're not just reacting to what's in front of them.
Right. They can actually describe things that aren't even present, which suggests a level of abstract thinking that's really rare in the animal kingdom.
So like imagination almost.
Yeah, it's similar to how humans use imagination in storytelling.
Wow. It's kind of mind-blowing to think that we share that with another species. Really challenges what it means to be human, I guess.
It definitely does. But sadly, bonobos are critically endangered.
Oh, no.
Their habitat's being destroyed. And there's a lot of poaching going on. And as a result, they might disappear completely very soon.
It's awful. Like we're about to lose a species that could help us understand ourselves better.
Exactly. It's a stark reminder that, we need to do more to protect these incredible animals.
For sure. Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about tool use.
Okay, yeah.
Because I know that's often
Oh.
seen as a sign of like advanced intelligence, right?
Yeah, right. Requires planning, problem solving, understanding cause and effect. And our source has some pretty remarkable examples that go way beyond, the classic chimpanzee termite fishing.
Okay, so what kind of tool use are we talking about here?
Well, we've already mentioned the crows using cars to crack nuts and even fishing with breadcrumbs. But get this, dolphins use sponges as tools.
Dolphins use sponges. Okay, I've never heard that one before. How do they do that?
So certain dolphin populations, like the ones in Shark Bay, Australia, they've learned to detach sponges from the seafloor and wear them on their beaks.
Like they wear them? Like what?
Yeah, it's not like a fashion statement or
Alright.
anything.
Good, I was a little worried there.
But it is a pretty clever strategy because they use these sponges to protect their beaks while they're foraging for fish on the seabed, which can be pretty rough.
Oh, that makes sense. So they're making like protective gear.
Exactly. Pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
And this isn't just some random thing they do either. It's passed down through generations, so it really highlights the role of learning in dolphin culture.
So it's not just instinct. It's like a learned behavior.
It's like a cultural tradition almost.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what else we're going to discover about animal intelligence.
Totally. Okay, so our source then goes on to discuss some of the ethical implications of all this,
Hmm.
like recognizing animal intelligence.
Right, which is a really important conversation to be having as we learn more and more.
Yeah, like makes you really think about how we treat animals if they're so smart.
Exactly. And the source points to the case of Spain, which has actually passed a law recognizing the personhood of apes.
Wait, personhood
Yeah.
for apes, what does that even mean?
Well, it basically means recognizing apes as individuals with certain rights, similar to what humans have.
Okay.
And this law actually prohibits using apes in things like experiments, circuses, or any commercial activity that would exploit their intelligence.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge step towards recognizing the value of these beings.
Okay.
And a number of other countries have done similar things, like Austria, the Netherlands, Sweden, all have laws to protect apes.
That's pretty encouraging. It's like maybe our understanding of animal intelligence is like prompting a shift in how we think about them legally and ethically.
It's a slow shift, but yeah, definitely seems to be happening.
Okay. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, should we be extending similar rights to other intelligent species too?
Right. Like, what about dolphins, elephants, or even crows?
Exactly. It's a really big question. Like, how does recognizing animal intelligence change how we relate to the natural world as a whole?
It's complicated, no easy answers for sure.
For sure. Well, I feel like this deep dive has been raising more questions than answers.
Well, that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It's making me think about things in a whole new way.
Exactly. It's about opening our minds to the possibility that intelligence is not just a human thing.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of challenging our thinking, the source material has a bit of a sobering thought to end on.
Okay.
It basically points out that while we're making progress in recognizing the rights of some species,
Yeah.
others are facing a totally different fate.
Right. And one of the examples that it highlights is actually the bonobos we were just talking about.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Even though they're one of the most intelligent ape species, their intelligence hasn't protected them from habitat loss and poaching. And there are estimates that there might be fewer than 1,000 bonobos left in the wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just heartbreaking.
It is. It's a really powerful reminder that, we need to be better stewards of the natural world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that this exploration of animal intelligence shouldn't just be an intellectual exercise, it should actually inspire action.
Well said. Well, this deep dive has been incredible. I feel like I've learned so much.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's definitely made me think about things in a whole new way.
Me too.
Huge thank you to you for guiding us through all this incredible research and information.
Of course. My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it sparked your curiosity and maybe even left you with a sense of wonder about the intelligence of the animals we share this planet with.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember the world is full of surprises.
All right, welcome back to our deep dives into animal intelligence. We've covered some amazing ground already, but the source material we've been looking at has even more incredible stuff.
It really does. There's just so much to explore when it comes to animal minds. And in this final part, we're going to dive into some truly mind-boggling abilities, including something that I think a lot of people find almost supernatural.
Oh, okay. Lay it on me. What kind of animal superpowers are we talking about here?
Well, we've seen how animals can solve complex problems, use tools, communicate in fascinating ways, but now let's talk about navigation.
Navigation. Okay, yeah.
Animals have these incredible ways of finding their way around, often using methods that, well, we humans can barely even comprehend.
Yeah, like migrations, birds flying thousands of miles and not getting lost, sea turtles returning to the exact same beach where they were born. Like, how do they do that?
It's really remarkable, isn't it? And our source actually delves into the navigational prowess of sea turtles specifically.
Okay, yeah, they're like the ultimate navigators, right?
They really are. I mean, these creatures undertake migrations across vast oceans, swimming thousands of miles sometimes, to return to the very same beach where they hatched years ago.
It's like they have a map imprinted in their brains or something. But how is that even possible? Like, scientifically, what's going on there?
Scientists believe they use a combination of cues: the Earth's magnetic field, ocean currents, even the position of the stars. Imagine having an internal compass that can guide you across entire oceans.
Wow. It's like they have a whole GPS system built into their bodies. We rely on our phones for directions, and these turtles are navigating by starlight.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? It's a testament to the incredible power of evolution and the diverse forms that intelligence can take.
Totally. So speaking of diverse forms of intelligence, our source also talks about something called social problem solving. What is that exactly?
Well, think of it as navigating the complexities of social life. Understanding relationships, resolving conflicts, cooperating with others, it's all part of being a social creature.
Okay, so like figuring out the social hierarchy, knowing who to trust, getting what you want without making enemies. Sounds familiar.
Exactly. And our source highlights a prime example of this in action. Primates, specifically chimpanzees.
Okay, chimps. Yeah. Always up to something.
They sure are. They live in these complex social groups with intricate hierarchies, alliances, there's power struggles, grooming rituals, elaborate greetings. It's all very dynamic.
It's like a never-ending reality TV show.
You could say that. But through these interactions, they learn how to navigate their social world. They build relationships. They learn how to cooperate to achieve common goals. And they rely on each other for survival, finding food, protection, raising young.
It's really amazing how much we can learn about ourselves by observing our primate cousins. Their social dynamics, conflicts, cooperation. It all mirrors what we see in human societies too.
It really does. Intelligence isn't just about being a brilliant individual, it's about social skills, empathy, connecting with others.
So true. Well, I feel like this deep dive has taken us on such an incredible journey through the amazing world of animal intelligence. We've seen self-awareness, tool use, communication, problem solving, social intelligence, and all in creatures that we share this planet with.
It really highlights the fact that intelligence isn't something unique to humans. It's woven into the very fabric of the natural world.
Yeah, it's humbling and awe-inspiring at the same time. And it definitely makes you think about our responsibilities towards these creatures.
Absolutely. Recognizing animal intelligence raises all sorts of ethical questions about how we treat them, how we protect them, how we coexist with them.
You can't just marvel at their abilities from afar. We have a responsibility to be better stewards of the planet and appreciate the incredible diversity of minds that exist alongside our own.
Well said.
This has been such an eye-opening and honestly mind-blowing deep dive.
It really has.
So a huge thank you to you for sharing your expertise and taking us on this incredible journey.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk about the wonders of the natural world.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, expanded your understanding of the animal kingdom, and maybe even left you with a renewed sense of wonder and respect for the amazing intelligence of our fellow creatures.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and always remember that the world is full of surprises.